It's 250. This one's a little bit bigger size lot. Our lot size is really small. I think it's 3,000. Yeah, 3,163. This one's a little over 5,200. Looks kind of, windows aren't done. The same old windows. Like, I don't want to comp it to this. I don't want to comp it to this. This is completely different. This is way bigger. So I mean, it looks like mid twos, possibly just a slightly under mid two. Then you have this one here. It's at 280. Well, it's a little bit. We're south of Water Street, or no, we're north of Water Street. That property is south. Let me just double check. Yeah, we're right in. Okay. Alright, 283 here. It's a block home, 217. Maybe you're like sitting around like 250, 240. Is that what the agent was saying?
Like, he was saying 225 to 250, if that. That's what his comps were coming in at.
Yeah, definitely. Because I see this. I mean, I didn't click on it, but you can clearly see that's a flip, and then this one as well. We don't have a second bath, so yeah, definitely have to be lower than that 255 mark. This one looks like there's not like central AC on this one. I wish I didn't have to waste time with going to Realtor to see every type of finish, but like, guys, for if you obviously I want to be a little bit faster comping, but if you guys are comping homes and you want to see if were there more pictures of this home? I mean, if most of the time when it was on Realtor, when it was on MLS, you see like the MLS tag on all that kind of stuff. You just could easily go to Realtor.com, put the property in, and then you'll see like this photo along with like however many, like let's say 15 or 16 other photos. So I just don't want to sit there and have to do that. And then it's 206. It's there, 225. It probably is. Yeah, if we had a second bath, it would be closer to 240, 250, but we don't have a second bath. So yeah, probably. I mean, I'm looking at this one here. Probably like pretty much identical. And that's sold for 206. And then sold for 206. Was it this year? Oh, last year. Probably went up a little bit in value. We're probably sitting like maybe around 215 or something. I just want to see the photos real quick on. It says request couldn't be processed. I don't know why. Okay, here we go. Alright, so there's 12 photos. Oh, so okay, so they fixed the front, but the inside is dated. So good thing I did that, right? So you can see the exterior looks nice and all that kind of stuff, but you go inside and it's not stainless steel appliances. Kitchen, flooring could be used some updates. So we could definitely get more than 206 for sure. I mean, even if we call it, let's say 220, let's 0.75 or at 165, and then this home. I mean, if this home was like, let's say, intact and livable and dated, then yeah, it could be like 60 in work. Between 50 to 60 in work with this type of home, but because it's like really extensive damage, you're probably gonna be looking at like close to 80 in work, because again, it looks like something like some fire or something was there. So might be even more than 80. I mean, I wish these pictures weren't so blurry, but it's basically down to the studs. So it could be probably like 80, 85. I mean, let's say you plug in 85. That brings you to 80,000, and then you gotta put your assignment fee. So like maybe 70 would be a good starting point for this property here. I mean, I when it comes down to this, I mean, it's needs a lot. So I think someone could get it done for 80. I don't think you would need to put six figures into it. Obviously, if you do, you get a little bit more in return. But how much more? You know, you put in, let's say, 20 grand more in repairs. Like, how much are you going to shoot the ARV? Because it's still a small 2-1, unless you change the layout to where it's like a 2-2, make some type of value. But it's, you know, it's just going to be, no matter what you do, it's a basic starter home for a single person or two people who just starting out their future together. So yeah, I would say, like, you know, 70 is a good starting point.
All right. Okay. That's good. I guess I'll just shoot them over a text and say this is where I'm at. And I know they were expecting something like, well, if we can get close to 90, I'm like, there'd be no way. I mean, that's why. And I asked him, I said, have you had any, since 425, have you had any real offers? And he's like, no. He's like, everybody's just, they'll call me back to run the numbers, but I guess they're too scared to even call back and even give them a lowball offer, knowing that they're going to say no right off the bat.
Yeah.
And I guess at some point, they're going to, you know, they can sit on it, as we know people do, but I guess if somebody just throws a number out there and they have it. Like I said, I haven't talked to the agent, since the day he put out that best and final, and just to see where his numbers were, and he says, no, we have a bunch over like 95 to 100, and they had it locked in at 95, and then it fell through. And then I was looking at it, they even had it locked up at 129 at one point, and it fell through. So
yeah. First buyer hold. Let's see what open. Bam. Sorry, I just saw a post for this bleed. So this is like something I would probably buy, but I guess someone already got this, and I can't. I don't even know. But yeah, I mean, perfect emergency reasons, vacant. You know. Well, they have a few other things. Moving closer to family, non-occupied, but you know, looks ideal. But yeah, so I mean, yeah, just, you know, see what happens. I mean, agents went through their whole history regarding the property and just hit everyone up because, you know, because sometimes the pressure's on them at that point because, hey, look, you know, seller's probably upset at the agent, like, hey, you promised me this would be sold at this price, and you had two people, you know, basically just kind of just dip and not, you know, fall through. They weren't able to fall through, and the deal fell through, and they, you know, kind of just went on to whatever, and then it's just the property sitting there. So it's not a good look for the agents. But, you know, agents probably scrambling, texting everybody, including yourself, Anthony, like, you know, hey, would you still be interested? Yeah, the ball's in any buyer's court, and since they've had 2 slip-ups already, it's like hard to even get an inspection period. So it's just like, you got, if anything, it'll be like a small. You could do like a 2 or 3 day, maybe max. But they probably would want an offer without it, just based on, you know, my experience. They'd probably want an offer if they fell through twice or even 3 times. Like, they want to make sure this offer is 100% solid, so they don't have to call the seller up and be like, hey, look, I failed you again.
Right. And that's where I think that, I know sometimes Eric says, you know, you just wait for somebody to flop, not once, not twice, now 3 times, especially when you're dealing with people, you know, on market. Like you said, the seller is just going to get even more pissed off, and at that point, they just take it off the market, cancel the listing, or they just say, you know what, enough's enough.
Yeah.
Let's just take what somebody's going to give us, but then having that realtor like shoot off this max text, and then everybody's apprehensive to even give a number. Like you said, I've called people since the 425, and people are like, oh yeah, I'll get back with you, but they're already apprehensive, knowing that they need to be so high, instead of giving a low ball number, knowing they may not have a chance, instead of just saying, okay, 60, and then they say, okay, but no inspection period, then okay, that's fine. You know, but if we're going to start with no inspection period, I'll probably even start like at 55 and see where they go.
Yeah.
This way they at least have a number, because where the seller can come back and say, has anybody made an offer? Well, we have 55 with no inspection. And then it's like, at that point, you have nothing or 55.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, again, there's you know how that goes.
And then you gotta have like a buyer on standby. You can't really just like hope, at that point, like, oh, can I move this? You got to make sure you talk to like two people, like three, two, three of your solid guys that don't mind paying you for before it's even, well, you know what I mean, like, just kind of like say like, hey, Todd, you still open to this area in Tampa, blah blah blah. Like I could try to get it locked up for you ASAP at this price, and then sell it to you for this price. If you have to have that type of rapport and be like, oh yeah, I don't mind paying you 5 or 10K more than what you have it at. Just when you get it under agreement, just let me know, and I could just go that same day, rather than just kind of like locking it and hoping that you find 3 or 4 Todds that are interested. I kind of like, what I like doing is having somebody already, or a handful of people already on standby about the house. But yeah, again, it's hard to do that and trust people if you haven't already done business with them. So it just goes with, I guess, building that relationship first before doing something like that, without having a contract in your hands, for sure. All right, Alex, your question here. What would you recommend? What would you recommend for identifying new cities, states to call in? Callers making about 1,400 calls a day, and Dallas minimum interest, and want to start exploring new areas. Dallas is a good market. I mean, I don't know if you want to stay in Texas, bounce around to Houston or whatever. I mean, there's probably some spots like in the maybe right outside of Dallas, because again, people commuting to Dallas or people commuting to Houston or whatever. So you probably find some few spots there. And I usually like targeting, those motivated sellers who, let's say, are in pre-foreclosure. Some tired landlords. So let's say they've owned it for 10 plus years. They probably own it in their own name, not like an LLC or anything like that, or INC, whatever. And going after inherited properties as well. That's always a good motivation thing, because sometimes people inherit properties from relatives or whatever, and they don't even live in that area, or they probably do, but they don't want to keep up with the maintenance of the home. So I would say going after those types of situations are ideal. So if you have like a group of people calling, have them pull that type of list and have them call that type of list, and you'll probably see some success. I've never done anything in Dallas. I mean, anything in Dallas or anything in Texas for that matter. So I'm assuming there's it's a decent market, so you should be able to get some success from that by just maybe making those few tweaks.
Dallas is big. San Antonio is big, and Corpus Christi and Austin, they're blowing up right now a lot.
Gotcha. I guess a lot of people moving. I think people are like from California, or a lot of people from California are going out to Texas, but I'm not sure where else they're coming from. But yeah, I mean, it's a market that probably will never, same like the Tampa Bay market. That's like a market I don't see ever dying. Everyone's, I think from last year to this year, definitely slowed down the amount of people that are making this their primary residence. But that was because people got scared because of the hurricanes that came through and did a lot of damage. But other than that, I mean, every year it's just crazy numbers from people moving. Let's say from the Midwest, there are a lot of people moving from the Midwest over to here, and also like the Northeast. Like me, myself, and a few other people that I know from the Northeast area, just moving down south to the Sunshine State. All right, Alex here. Do you mainly source your list from PropStream, or go direct to the cities within the county and source those? No, I just source from PropStream. So I either, again, I get my leads from sometimes referrals, or I get them from PropStream, making a list, again, making an inherited property list or like a pre-foreclosure list, in the markets that I want to target and close to me. So I try to do that. Tired landlord, to make sure everyone's in at least a 40, no more than a 45-mile radius from where I'm at, so I can just easily get there if I have to see it in person, all that kind of stuff. But sometimes it is. I mean, you can do deals without meeting the seller, but sometimes it's hard to do a transaction, especially if you're talking to like the older. Let's say some of the deals I do, like people are at least 50 plus years of age. So they they're still, and I don't blame them, to like, hey, look, I want to know who I'm talking to. I want to shake your hand, blah, blah, blah. I want to see, I'll be able to put a face to the name and having everything done virtually, phone call to the DocuSign to, texting, all that kind of stuff. Like it's just, it's not their cup of tea. So sometimes it's harder to deal with people like that. So you have to meet them in person. So I don't want to, I'm not ever gonna do a deal in like Miami because it's just like if I don't know, I don't have any connects in Miami. The reason why I'm successful in both markets is because I have boots on the ground and can easily look at a house for me or take pictures or meet a seller, and have them be my quote unquote partner in this our future transaction to make it easier. So that's why I probably would never branch out anywhere else. But if you do virtual, you want to make sure that you have. It makes it easier. You can be successful without it, but I mean, it does make it a lot easier when you have boots on the ground and let's say if you live in Dallas, it's definitely easier as opposed to let's say San Antonio. Like if you're targeting the San Antonio market and you don't have any connects in San Antonio for people to help you meet a seller or take pictures, all that kind of stuff. It's hard to get the deal secured. Sources. Yeah, I mean, you could also go to. I mean, you don't have to rely on like batch leads or PropStream. You could always go to. I'm not sure how much information the county website for Dallas is, but you could definitely pull some lists before it even hits batch leads or PropStream. I don't know the county of Dallas. I'd have to look that up. But you just type in, let's say it's the county of Dallas, it's Dallas County. You could type in Dallas County property appraiser and then kind of go from there. And again, some county websites are different. I know Texas is a non-disclosure state in general, so I don't know how much information is just out there. But for someone like myself in Florida or in Pennsylvania, it's pretty public, and I could pull a list. A fresher list, because it usually takes about 2 to 3 weeks for sites like PropStream and Batch Leads and PropWire to get those types of data. Like when I see if there's like a pre-foreclosure thing in the past 2 weeks, like most of the times, like those like PropStream or Batch Leads won't even have that until like 3 weeks in. That's how you get the freshest data, and there are people still doing that, but most people they don't take the time to build a list through that, through the county website. Just keep that in mind. Good question though. Any other questions? Yeah, so currently the city used to request the data, but it's super slow and IRS. Yeah, I mean, if it's like that, yeah, that's definitely frustrating. If it's, I didn't know, I never had to go to the physical county or call the county to pull it. It's just kind of already there for me. So I do. I would understand that frustration because I could just, have it on my, in the fingertips, go on Google right there, pull it up, and it's there for me to, analyze and call on, and I guess that's why, Florida's different, but yeah, non-disclosure states, it is doable, but it's just so many hoops to jump through, so it's tough. I never done any deals in a non-disclosure state. I don't even look to do any deals in a non-disclosure state. But I'm trying to think what else you could really do. I mean, yeah, you could join Facebook groups. in Dallas or wherever you're at in those cities that you're targeting, and then kind of see, ask a few questions in that group, like, like, hey, look, how were you guys, because they're actually doing it. They're in that group, so they should have some tips and tricks. Maybe they'll private message you once you put you'll say there's a group of 400 people in the Dallas community that are in real estate, and like between agents, wholesalers, investors, and you put a group post out there, and then maybe people might private message you on the side, and are just in that whole thread, and answer that question, like, hey, look, you want to do this, this, and this. So you could try that, but other than what I'm saying to you now, like, I really don't know any other thing you could do to really, I guess, have great success in pulling that type of data without, again, just going through what I go through to get it. So I haven't really looked to any other options, but I think a Facebook group, if you aren't in any or one at least, it's definitely helpful to be in a few groups in your area and kind of see, sometimes you'll see properties too. You can make posts like, hey, like, who do you, what are good title companies in the Dallas area, and then there'll be a whole group of people who answer you, like the best title companies or best lawyers or, whatever the case may be. People post their properties in there, like, hey, look, I'm trying to sell this property. Does anyone have anybody for that? So, I mean, that could be something that you haven't done yet. I don't know.
And just to touch on your point, I had looked at a couple of places, because I'm in Arlington, and I did go to people's places here in Arlington, but couldn't make the deal. But I did reach out to some Facebook groups here in Dallas, and there's a lot of them flooded with a lot of spam people. But the ones who were really interested did side chat me, and so we did make a connection. Some of people who buy land, some people buy single family, multifamily, and they just say, hey, this is what we're looking for. We have buyers. Then some people are just direct end buyers themselves. So that's a good way. And I have like 8 people now that I'm just talking back and forth, just looking for stuff for them, but nothing really like for what they want. It's really hard to get that stuff here in Dallas for them. But for other people who just sit there on dialers all day, that's what they do. So, I mean, if you can pull a list, and get that, there's stuff here in Dallas going back. And you can see it on their Facebook group when you join in. Just look up, Dallas cash buyers, Dallas investors, Dallas wholesalers, and there's chats going on every day. People are like, okay, DM me this. I have a property locked up. I need a buyer, or I have a property that needs this, and we're looking for land. It's there. You just have to be, spend a day or 2 days on Facebook, and you can have like 3 or 4 buyers, or 3 or 4 people you can JV with. Yeah. And then take a look at their profile. If their profile has a couple posts saying the same thing, then they're legit. Some people just don't post anything, so it's kind of weary, but then you'll see the people who, like, in 3 or 4 different chats, they're actually doing the work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's good input for sure. So yeah, I mean, hopefully, you have some success with that. And if you have any other questions, you can reach out to me, and I could put my name in the chat there, and then also and it's Terrell. I know it has Eric. This is Eric's Zoom account, but my name is Terrell. So you always reach out to me. If you have any other additional questions, you can always message, and I'll do my best. I mean, I've only been doing it. It'll be 4 years in July that I've been doing wholesale. Started July 2021 with Eric in his office, and then like a year and like a month after that, basically like August 2022, I kind of started my own thing. So, and then I've been doing that, working for myself since then. And if I ever stumble, if I have any questions, I always, could give Eric a call, or Eric's other partner, Brandon, who was in the office as well. He's been with Brandon for a while. Like Eric started, I think, kind of right out of high school. But like Brandon, he didn't find Brandon along until like maybe I want to say 2018. I think 2018, and then they built, the A1 Assets brand. They were very successful in wholesaling and owner financing, and used owner financing to secure some good Airbnbs out there in our neighborhoods and up in Pennsylvania. And then I think they had like close to like 20 or something homes. And then during COVID, it kind of slowed everything down because you couldn't really do much at all. PA was definitely strict with COVID and the rules of COVID and all that kind of stuff. And then they kind of liquidated what they had and took everything and moved to Florida like right around 2020. And then I jumped in on 2021 because I saw a few posts that he was making. I was always, we always followed each other and stuff like that. But I just thought to myself, hey, I wanted to change of pace and wanted to switch careers. So I hit him up, and then he's like, yeah, man, come down. I'm opening up an office in St. Pete, blah, blah, blah. And then
And sorry to interrupt. What were you doing before that?
I was in car sale. I was just at a dealership. Nothing crazy. Selling cars. I mean, I did have my bachelor's in business management, but I wasn't really using it at the time. But I just wanted. I just hated. Sometimes it would be like, two 12-hour shifts and then the rest 8 hours, but still like, pretty much close to 50 hours a week at times. So just tired of that, waiting around for like a customer to roll through the door, like, hey, I want this, blah blah blah, and then it's so I'm happy I did it. I would definitely I don't regret the change. I like the weather. Every time, like right now, it's like the rainy season in PA, so it's like I looked on the forecast. I had one of the buyers for like a property. It's like in PA, and he's like, I want to wait until the weather gets nice because it's like from today to like Tuesday. He wanted to see it Tuesday because this one's gonna be nice. It's just gonna be like thunderstorming, raining like 80% for the next like 4 days. So like I don't want to deal with it, So it's definitely easier to. I feel like I don't even check the weather here at times. Like, I know like in like soon it's going to be hurricane season. So like it'll be a little bit more precipitation here, a little bit more scattered thunderstorms and stuff like that. But like, I always know the weather's going to be at least like 80 plus, so it's always good for, and it's and I definitely have more of an active lifestyle as opposed to Pennsylvania. Back then, basically, I golfed. I still do that here. I snowboarded back up there, and that was pretty much it. But here, you could do other stuff. Obviously, like I've gone kayaking before, but it's more. I've done it often here as opposed to up there, and I don't miss the cold. Everyone's like, oh, what about the Four Seasons? But like I'm all right. So, but yeah, I moved in July of 2021, and then learned a lot from Eric and his partner Brandon, and they showed me the ropes. It was definitely a lot easier because let's say if I'm on the phone call with like a seller or like an agent for that listed a home for a seller, if I'm on the phone, like they'll tell me like, hey, meet yourself, and then they'll tell me, like, Eric will tell me what to say, like say this to them, say this, and then like unmute, and then say what you gotta say. So it definitely was, having I guess him there, I get both of them there. It's like it helped a lot with knowing how to talk on the phone, because I was already decent, but I feel like I could, that helped me I guess go to the next level. And also too, like we would role play 20-25 minutes before we started our morning, our routine. So we'd role play, and we watched like a lot of videos on like Jerry Norton and like Grant Cardone, Those are two great guys that are really successful, and they hit these types of closes that are like really good to where like it really gets the seller thinking. Like because a lot of times you have people like, oh, let's say, oh, I gotta talk to my wife. Like, and they'd be like, oh, no, let's say, your wife was here and she gave you the green light. What would you think? Are you still, like, because some people always use the wife objection as an excuse. Like, oh, let me talk to my wife and I'll get back to you. Sometimes you'll never even hear from them, But like, so let's say, like, you could be like, oh, what if your wife said okay right now? Do you still feel comfortable? Because again, it's like sometimes it's not even the wife; it's just them, but they just want to use that as an excuse. Or you have like the Grant Cardone has like the white flag close where it's like, like seller wants 250 for the home, but you want, you got to get it at 225, let's say. And, you tell them like, hey, look, I really got to be at 225, Frank. And say, oh, no, I can't. It'll be at 250, blah, 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 blah. Well, okay. I mean, I totally understand, you got to be at 250, blah, blah, blah. Then you could be like, are you willing to, repair the roof at all? No, I don't have the money to repair the roof. I mean, I really want to sell it as is. Okay. Well, I mean, I'm factoring in 225 because I gotta fix up the roof. I gotta, do new flooring throughout the whole entire house and paint. So like that's why I'm at that price. I mean, are you sure you're not able to help out with any of that cost? No, I'm not putting more money into the house. Blah blah blah. So it's like that white flag type close where it's just like, hey, look, I'll give you what you want, if you're able to fix that. But if not, you're not, I would have to deduct that from the price. So, using that, and they have a few other. Grant Cardone definitely has like a lot of closes because that whole thing is like sales for him. So it's like, he has a lot of closes, like the wife objection, the whatever, like he's any objection that's, I feel like, known to man. Like there's definitely some content on how to avoid it and move on to the close, but yeah, so I mean, all you got, again, just especially for anyone calling, because most of this business is through the phone, so you gotta make sure your phone voice is good, you speak fluently, and you don't stutter, you don't say you are very, let's say, direct, and you know how to steer the conversation, because there's many times with sellers, like they'll be like, oh, they'll ramble about blah blah blah, like, yes, definitely hear them out, but hear what they say. You gotta put on your listening ears. But whatever they throw at you, like, oh, my this is what's happening to me, and my wife is doing this, but the kids are blah blah blah. It's like, okay, all right, this. You just gotta know how to steer it back to the house, after they ramble, because a lot of people just don't know how to steer the conversation, so they're just kind of they're letting the seller dictate, the whole convo. So you gotta, they could dictate some of the convo, but you want to just guide them, push them in the right direction. Like, hey, look, like, I understand, I feel sorry for your wife or whatever the situation is, but I again, see if the motivation's still there to have them want to sell. So yeah. Any other questions, guys? No? Okay. Yeah, what time is it now? It's 54. Alright. Yeah, I mean, I guess I could end a few minutes early. So yeah, I mean, for me, myself, like, after this Zoom call, I'm gonna, like I said, I drove around a little bit, in my to this one, my buddy's one place. So I marked a few homes, so I'm gonna put them in my system and see. Usually, I mean, I think there are like four, I think 4 or 5 homes in there. So I'll put them in my system. I'll try to see, like, obviously if there's motivation, because I'm not gonna just call willy nilly. I'm gonna put everything in PropStream and see what properties have the most value to me for a potential deal. Like if someone bought the property, let's say in 2018, and there's like a mortgage on it and all that, and there's little to no equity, I'm not calling that. I rather, again, I'm trying to call homes that are, and most of the time I won't even see it like that. The homes that I pin are always, you can tell that there's something wrong with it. So they probably owned it for sellers probably owned it for a while now, so there's definitely a lot of equity in the home, and let's say they probably don't even live there or whatever. So that will be on my to-do list today. And I also got to call the title company for this one deal and make sure everything is still good. I know money's been submitted and everything like that. I just got to make sure that they know to split they should know to split the HUD already for me, but and also picking a time, like what time are we closing on? I think it's the 12th or 13th of June. I didn't write it down, or maybe I did. I can't remember. But yeah, all right, guys. I'll let you guys get back to it. Hope you guys have a good rest of your Wednesday. Kill the day. Again, if you have any more questions, don't hesitate to reach out. And if you need anything, just message me and I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can. Yeah, no problem. All right, take care, guys.